You know, I used to think words were the most dangerous weapons. Words, so easy to throw around, so hard to take back. But funny thing, I realized, words, they're overrated. People don't listen, not really. They pretend to listen, nod their heads, maybe give you a pity smile. But they're too busy, rehearsing their own lines to hear yours. So I stopped talking, stopped explaining. And guess what? That's when they started paying attention. Silence. Oh, silence. It's a beautiful thing. It's loud in its own way, you know? Makes people squirm, wonder what you're thinking. What's going on in that little head of yours? Drives them crazy. And me? I like crazy. You see, words, they're cheap. Anyone can spit out promises or shout empty threats. They scream, they cry, they beg. But it's all so predictable. But silence? Silence is the loudest thing there is. It's the aftermath of a storm. The calm after the wreckage. It's the moment they realize that no matter how much they scream at you, there's nothing left to say. And you've mastered that silence, haven't you? But let me tell you something, that silence, it isn't just for them. Oh no, it's for you too. Because while they drown in the echoes of what they've done, you're gonna learn to build something in that quiet. A fortress, a weapon, a version of yourself that doesn't need their validation. See, the world doesn't care about you. I know that's harsh, but don't worry. It's not personal. The world doesn't care about anyone, and that's your power. You owe it nothing, and it owes you nothing. So, stop waiting for the apology that's never coming. Stop expecting justice in a world that thrives on chaos. Stop begging for the scraps of kindness from people who wouldn't even notice if you disappeared tomorrow. You think they'll miss you? No, not right away. At first, they'll celebrate. They'll toast to the absence of your voice, the weight of your expectations lifted off their shoulders. But oh, give it time. That silence you've left behind, it'll start to itch. It'll creep into their heads like a splinter they can't pull out. They'll lie awake at night, replaying every word they said, every moment they pushed you away, every time they looked at you and saw something less than human. And they'll start to wonder, what if they were right? Now that's the beauty of silence. It doesn't just haunt them, it infects them. It makes them question everything they thought they knew. And that's when you win. Not by shouting, not by screaming, but by disappearing. You're gonna rebuild yourself piece by bloody piece. And when they finally notice, when they realize that you've become something they can't touch, something they can't destroy, they'll regret every single second they spent tearing you down. But don't do it for them. Don't rise from the ashes just to prove them wrong. Do it because you've got nothing left to lose. Do it because the person they broke doesn't exist anymore. Do it because you owe it to yourself to become something more than their victim. You think this pain will last forever? It won't. Oh, it'll leave scars, sure, but scars are reminders, not prisons. They're proof that you survived something that was meant to destroy you. Wear them proudly, because every time they look at you, they'll see those scars and remember what they did. And that's when the silence starts to scream. But don't go back to them. Don't give them the satisfaction of closure. Let them live in the wreckage of what they destroyed. Let them choke on the memories of what they lost. Let them drown in the silence you've left behind. You think revenge is about getting even? No. Revenge is about moving on. It's about becoming so untouchable, so unstoppable, that their existence becomes meaningless to you. That's the real power. That's the real victory. But it's not going to be easy. Oh no. They'll try to pull you back. They'll whisper sweet nothings, promise change, beg for forgiveness. Don't fall for it. They haven't changed. They never will. Because people like them, they feed on weakness. They thrive on the cracks in your armor. But you're not weak anymore. Are you? No. You're silent. And silence, my dear friend, is strength. So, let them talk. Let them lie. Let them scream into the void, hoping for a response that'll never come. And you keep building. You keep growing. You keep proving, not to them, but to yourself, that you're worth more than they ever gave you credit for. Because one day, they'll look back and they'll see the empire you've built from the rubble they left behind, and they'll realize that your silence was never weakness. It was a weapon, and it was always aimed at them. So, go ahead. Let them haunt themselves. Let your silence speak louder than any words ever could. And when they finally understand the price of losing you, that's when you'll know you've won. And you will win. Oh, you'll win in ways they never even thought possible. But not because you need their validation. Not because you need their approval. You'll win because you've finally realized that you were always enough, even when they couldn't see it. So, take a breath, stand up, and walk away. Leave the ghosts behind. Let the silence do the talking, and watch as it haunts them for the rest of their miserable lives. Because your silence will hurt them more than your words ever could. You see, most people, they can't handle silence. It eats at them, rips them apart from the inside out. They need noise, need distractions, need something, anything, to drown out the thoughts in their heads. That's why they talk so much. You know, why they fill every room, every moment, every damn second with their voices. Because the moment it gets quiet, they're forced to face the one thing they've been running from their whole lives, themselves. But you're not afraid of silence anymore. Not after what they've done to you. Not after the way they tore through your life, leaving you to pick up the shattered pieces they didn't even bother to look back at. No, silence is your home now, your refuge. And that scares them more than you could ever imagine. Think about it. Think about the way they used to look at you, with pity, with disdain, like you were less than them, like you were nothing. They thought their words could break you, that their opinions could define you, that if they just pushed hard enough, you'd crumble into dust. But you didn't. Oh no, you didn't. You see, silence isn't just the absence of sound. It's the absence of them, their voices, their judgments, their control. And that's power. That's freedom. Because when you strip away all the noise, all the chaos, all the lies, what's left? Just you. And that's all you've ever needed. Let me ask you something. Do you remember the first time they hurt you? Of course you do. That kind of pain doesn't just fade away. It lingers, doesn't it? Like a shadow that follows you everywhere you go. But here's the thing about shadows. They're not real. They're just reflections of something else. And the moment you step into the light, they disappear. And you're the light now. You don't need their approval. You don't need their validation. Hell, you don't even need their apologies. Because you've finally figured out the truth. They're the weak ones, not you, never you. Weakness isn't about falling, it's about staying down. And you've been down long enough. It's time to stand up. Time to take back what's yours. Time to show them that the silence they thought was your surrender was actually your transformation. Do you know what they're gonna say when they see you again? Nothing. Because they won't know what to say. They'll stand there, their mouths open, their eyes wide, searching for the right words, the right excuses, the right lies. But it won't matter, because you won't be listening. You'll be too busy living, too busy thriving, too busy becoming everything they said you'd never be. And that's the best part, isn't it? The fact that they can't stop you. Not anymore. They had their chance. They had their power. And they wasted it. Now it's your turn. But don't rush it. Oh no. Take your time. Build yourself slowly, carefully, piece by piece. Because this isn't about revenge. It's about freedom. It's about finding out who you really are without their voices in your head, without their chains around your wrists, without their poison in your veins. They think they broke you, but what they don't realize is that they only broke the version of you that needed them, the version that cared about their opinions, the version that thought they mattered, That version is gone, dead, buried, and in its place, you, the real you, the one they couldn't touch, the one they didn't even know existed, the one who doesn't just survive but thrives, the one who turns every scar into a battle cry, the one who takes every ounce of pain and turns it into strength. You know what's funny? They thought they were strong because they had the power to hurt you. But real strength is what comes after. It's in the rebuilding, the rising, the refusing to give up, no matter how many times they tried to knock you down. And you're strong, stronger than they'll ever be, because you've seen the darkness, lived in it, survived it, and now you're walking out of it, not as a victim, but as a warrior, a fighter, a survivor. But don't let them see you coming. Keep your silence. Let it grow. Let it build. Let it become the thing they fear the most. Because the moment they hear your voice again, it won't be the voice of the person they broke. It'll be the voice of the person who broke free. And when that day comes, they'll regret everything, every word, every action, every moment they spent trying to destroy you. But by then, it won't matter, because you'll have moved on. You'll be too busy living the life they said you could never have. Too busy proving to yourself that you were always enough. Let them live in the silence. Let them drown in it. Let it haunt them, consume them, destroy them. And you keep moving forward, keep building, keep growing, because you've already won. Your silence isn't weakness, it's power, and it'll haunt them more than your words ever could. You think silence is just nothing? Silence is a canvas, my dear friend, and every wound, every betrayal, every whispered lie they ever told you is the paint. It's how you turn your pain into art, into meaning, into something that'll live in their heads long after they've forgotten your voice. See, when you go quiet, you're not retreating, you're creating. You're building a monument to everything they tried to take from you. And that monument, it's not made of stone. No. It's made of regret. Every time they see your face, every time they hear your name, every time they remember what they did to you, they'll feel it. That pit in their stomach. That gnawing in the back of their mind. That unbearable silence where your words used to be. And do you know the best part? They'll try to fill that silence. They'll try. They'll spin their stories, rewrite the past, make themselves the heroes of a tragedy they caused. But it won't work. Because deep down in the quiet corners of their mind, they'll know the truth. And that truth, it'll haunt them. It'll eat away at them. It'll destroy them. But you won't be there to see it. No, you'll be too busy carving out a new life for yourself. A life where their opinions don't matter. A life where their words can't touch you. A life where you finally get to be free. But freedom, my dear friend, isn't handed to you. Oh no, it's earned. It's fought for. And the battlefield? It's in your mind. It's in the choices you make every day. The choice to keep going. The choice to rise above. The choice to let your silence speak louder than their noise. Do you know why people fear silence? It's not because it's empty. It's because it's full. Full of everything they're too scared to face. Their failures, their regrets, their fears. And when you go silent, you force them to face all of that. You turn their world into a mirror. And trust me, they won't like what they see. But you're different. You've stared into that mirror. You've faced your demons. And guess what? You're still standing. That makes you dangerous. That makes you unstoppable. Because once you've faced the worst parts of yourself, there's nothing left to fear. They thought breaking you would make you weaker. But what they didn't realize is that broken things can be rebuilt. Stronger, sharper, better. And you? Oh, you're not just surviving. You're evolving. Turning every shard of your old self into a weapon, a tool, a masterpiece. But don't rush it. Take your time. Let every moment of silence be a step toward becoming who you were always meant to be. Because this isn't just about them, it's about you, about finding your strength, your purpose, your voice. And when you're ready, when you've finally built yourself into the person they said you could never be, you won't need to say a word. They'll see it in your eyes, in your actions, in the way you carry yourself. And that'll be enough. That'll be more than enough. Because silence isn't just the absence of words. It's the presence of power. And you're the most powerful thing they'll ever encounter. Not because of what you say, but because of what you don't. Because of what you've endured. Because of what you've become. You're gonna walk away from this, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Because the only way to win is to stop playing their game. To let them fight their battles in the echo chamber of their own guilt, while you rise above it all. And when they finally realize what they've lost, when they finally understand the cost of their actions, they'll wish they had a chance to apologize, to make it right. But by then, it'll be too late. You'll be gone. A ghost. A memory. A silence they can never escape. But don't think of this as revenge. No. Revenge is too small for someone like you. This is about liberation. About breaking free from the chains they wrapped around you. About proving, not to them, but to yourself, that you were always worth more than they ever gave you credit for. You think this is the end? Oh no, this is just the beginning. The beginning of a life they'll never be a part of. A life where you get to decide who you are, what you want, and how you're going to get it. And you will get it. Oh, you'll get it all. Not because they said you couldn't, but because you decided you could. Because you chose to rise, to rebuild, to transform. And when they see you again, if they ever see you again, they won't even recognize you. But that's not the point, is it? No. The point is that you'll recognize yourself. And that's all that matters. So, go. Leave the noise behind. Embrace the silence. And let it shape you into something they can't ignore, can't control, and can't destroy. Because your silence, your beautiful, powerful, haunting silence, will be the loudest thing they've ever heard. You're not just rebuilding yourself for today. Oh, no. This isn't about surviving the moment. This is about preparing for something bigger, something they'll never see coming. Because while they stay the same, clinging to their lies, their comforts, their illusions of power, you're evolving. Every second you spend in silence, every step you take away from their chaos, you're becoming something they'll never be. Free. And freedom? Oh, it's a funny thing. It doesn't just mean you've escaped them. It means you've escaped the person you were when they had their claws in you. That version of you, the one who believed their words, who cared about their opinions, who waited for their approval. That person is gone now. And in their place, a storm is brewing. A quiet, unstoppable force that doesn't need permission to exist. But let's not kid ourselves. This isn't going to be easy. No, 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 it's going to hurt. It's going to burn. You're going to feel every single scar they left behind, every single ounce of pain they shoved down your throat. And you're going to want to scream, to fight, to let them know what they did to you. Don't. That's what they want. They want to pull you back into their world, into their game, where they make the rules, and you're always the one who loses. Don't give them that satisfaction. Stay silent. Stay still. Let them think they've won. Because the longer they believe that, the harder it'll hit them when they realize the truth. And the truth is this. They didn't break you. Not really. Oh, they tried. They threw everything they had at you. Words, actions, betrayals. And yet, here you are. Still standing. Still breathing. Still fighting, even if it's in your own quiet way. That's the thing about silence. They can't predict it. They can't control it. It terrifies them because it forces them to sit with their own guilt, their own insecurities, their own failures. And you don't even have to lift a finger. Just keep walking, keep growing, keep becoming. Do you know what happens when someone grows in silence? It's like a seed buried in the dark, unseen, unnoticed. At first they forget about it. They move on, thinking it'll never amount to anything. But then, one day, it breaks through the surface. Stronger, unstoppable. And by the time they notice, it's too late. It's already towering over them. You're that seed. You're that force they never saw coming. And when you finally break through, oh, they'll feel it. They'll feel every ounce of the strength you've built in their absence. And it'll crush them. Not because you wanted revenge, but because they'll realize they can't touch you anymore. But don't rush this. Let the silence do its work. Let it shape you, guide you, transform you. Use it to learn who you really are, who you've always been beneath the noise of their lies. And when you're ready, when you've built yourself into something even you can't recognize, you won't need to say a word. Your existence alone will be enough to remind them of their failures. You see, people like them. They thrive on noise, on chaos, on the constant reassurance that they're in control. But take that away. Leave them in silence, and they crumble. Oh, they'll try to hide it, of course. They'll put on their masks, their smiles, their little shows. But behind closed doors, when no one's watching, that silence will creep in. It'll wrap around them like a noose, tighter and tighter, until they can't escape it. And you'll be long gone by then, living a life they can only dream of. A life built on strength, on resilience, on the kind of power they'll never understand. Because real power doesn't come from tearing others down. It comes from building yourself up. From taking everything they used to hurt you and turning it into something beautiful, something untouchable. But don't do this for them. Don't let them be the reason you rise. Let it be for you, for the person you've always wanted to be, the life you've always deserved. Let your silence be a gift to yourself, a reminder that you don't need their approval, their apologies, or their validation. You are enough. You've always been enough. And when they finally realize that, when they look at you and see the person they tried so hard to destroy, standing there, unbroken, unstoppable, they'll regret every single moment they spent trying to tear you down. But by then, it won't matter, because you'll have moved on. You'll be too busy living, too busy thriving to care about what they think. That's the beauty of silence. It doesn't just haunt them, it frees you. It gives you the space to grow, to heal, to become. And when the day comes that you finally break that silence, when you finally speak again, your words will carry a weight they've never known, because they'll know you've earned them, every single one. So, let them talk, let them lie, let them scream into the void, hoping for a response that'll never come. And you just keep moving forward, keep building, keep growing, because you've already won. Your silence isn't weakness, it's power, and it'll haunt them more than your words ever could. Now go. Take that silence and make it yours. Let it become your armor, your weapon, your freedom. And remember, you don't owe them a damn thing. Not your words, not your time, not your forgiveness. All you owe them is your absence. Because in the end, it's not your words that'll break them. It's your silence. And oh, how it'll echo forever. You know, it's funny how people think silence is passive, like it's just sitting there doing nothing. But silence is a weapon, a double-edged blade. On one side, it cuts them, deep, sharp, right into the core of their insecurities. On the other side, it heals you. It forces you to confront the pain they inflicted, to sit with it, to understand it, and eventually to grow beyond it. That's the part they'll never understand. They think silence means defeat. They think it means you've got nothing left to say, that you've given up, that you're done. But silence is the pause before the roar. The breath before the strike. It's where power is built, layer by layer, in the absence of their noise. And when you finally step out of it, they won't know what hit them. But let me be clear, this isn't about becoming like them. Oh no, you're better than that. They lash out because they're scared. They scream because they're weak. They destroy because they can't create. And you're about to show them what real strength looks like. Quiet, focused, relentless. Because here's the truth they don't want you to know. The strongest people don't shout. They don't beg. They don't plead for attention or approval. They don't need to. They let their actions speak. They let their lives be the loudest response. And you're going to live a life so extraordinary, so untouchable, that it'll haunt them for the rest of their miserable days. You think they're going to forget about you? Ha! No chance. You'll be the ghost that follows them everywhere. In every moment of silence, in every corner of their minds, they'll see you. Not the you they broke, but the you who rose from the ashes, stronger and more unyielding than they could ever imagine. And oh, they'll try to ignore it. They'll tell themselves they did the right thing, that you deserved it, that they were justified. But deep down, they'll know the truth. They'll know they lost something irreplaceable. And that'll eat at them every single day. But don't get it twisted. This isn't about them. Not anymore. This is about you. About what you're going to do with the silence they left behind. Because that silence, it's not empty. It's full. Full of potential. Full of strength. Full of you. Use it. Every second, every breath, every moment of silence is a chance to rebuild, to create, to become. You've got something they'll never have, the ability to grow, to adapt, to change. They're stuck in their patterns, their lies, their shallow little lives. But you're free now. Free to be whoever the hell you want to be. But don't rush it. This kind of transformation takes time. It's messy. It's painful. You're going to have to face parts of yourself you've been avoiding. You're going to have to sit in the dark, alone with your thoughts, and find a way to turn that pain into something powerful. But you can do it. I know you can. Because if there's one thing you've proven, it's that you're a survivor. But remember this, silence isn't just your weapon. It's your liberation. Every time you choose not to react, not to engage, you take back control. You stop letting them dictate your story. You stop giving them space in your mind. And that's what scares them the most. That you're no longer theirs to control. Your silence becomes their punishment. But for you, it's freedom. Sweet, intoxicating freedom. They'll keep watching, you know? From a distance, of course. Because cowards like them can never face the aftermath of what they've done. They'll look for cracks, for signs that you still care, that you're still affected by their words, their actions. But you won't give them that satisfaction. You'll let them drown in their own insecurities, their own failures, while you rise above it all, silent, unyielding, unstoppable. And when the day comes that you finally cross paths again, if it ever does, they won't recognize you. Oh, they'll know it's you, but they won't see the person they broke. They'll see someone stronger, someone sharper, someone who doesn't need their approval, their apologies, or their validation. And in that moment, they'll realize they were never your weakness. They were your turning point. So go. Step into the silence and let it shape you. Let it become the foundation of the life you're going to build. A life so extraordinary, so untouchable that their memory will fade into insignificance. Because in the end, it's not your words that will haunt them. It's the life you build without them. And that, my dear friend, will be the loudest silence they'll ever hear.